Every morning, you wake up with dreams burning inside you, but by nightfall, they're buried under fatigue and regret. What if the biggest threat to your future isn't failure, but the tiny choices you make every day without even noticing? There are habits quietly stealing your time, draining your focus, and killing your potential from the inside out. These are the silent destroyers of growth, hiding in plain sight. Once you see them, you can't unsee them, and once you break them, your life will never be the same. If you're tired of living on repeat, this is where the cycle ends. In the next few moments, you'll discover the hidden habits silently ruining your progress and how to break free from them forever. 1. Quit procrastinating. You must understand this. Procrastination is not a harmless delay. It is a silent thief that robs you of your destiny. In the quiet moments when you push aside important tasks, something profound is happening. Your potential is being siphoned away, drop by precious drop. This isn't mere postponement, it's a surrender of possibility. Every time you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," you are placing your dream in the hands of time, and time is indifferent. It doesn't wait, it doesn't forgive, and it never returns. The minutes cascade into hours, hours into days, and suddenly years have passed with your greatest ambitions still waiting in the wings. These accumulated delays aren't just lost moments. They represent the compounding interest of unrealized potential. The people who built empires, industries, and legacies, they didn't wait for perfect circumstances. They created them. They understood that conditions rarely align perfectly of their own accord. History's architects recognized that waiting for optimal conditions is a luxury that ambition cannot afford. Instead, they forged forward with available resources, transforming limitations into launching points. Take Thomas Edison. He didn't sit and wait for inspiration to strike like lightning. He worked with what he had, every single day, chasing the glow of his vision in the dark. His relentless experimentation, trying thousands of materials before finding the right filament, illustrates the power of consistent action over sporadic bursts of motivation. His laboratory wasn't a place of occasional genius, but of daily determined effort. If you keep putting off the very things that will make you great, you will wake up one day surrounded by regrets, not results. The tragedy of procrastination isn't just lost opportunity, but the haunting awareness of what could have been. Those who consistently delay meaningful action don't merely forfeit external achievements, they forfeit the person they might have become. Action is the cure. Not planning, not preparing, not perfecting, but beginning. The momentum generated by starting, however imperfectly, creates energy that propels you forward. What seems insurmountable before beginning often reveals itself as manageable once in motion. The mountain that looms large from a distance becomes a series of navigable steps when you start climbing. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and achievement. It's the daily decision to honor commitments to yourself, especially when motivation wanes. Discipline doesn't require extraordinary willpower, but rather systems that make progress inevitable. Breaking large tasks into smaller ones, creating environments that minimize distractions, establishing accountability. You already know what needs to be done. Deep down, beneath the rationalizations and excuses, clarity exists. The path forward isn't obscured by lack of knowledge, but by reluctance to face temporary discomfort. Your intuition has already identified the next step. Your challenge is mustering the courage to take it. You don't need more time, you need more courage. Courage to begin, right now, while others hesitate. Starting before you feel ready separates the exceptional from the ordinary. Those who change their worlds don't wait until fear subsides. They act alongside their fear, allowing purpose to outweigh apprehension. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who start. It rewards the initiation of action, not the intention. Your future achievements depend not on perfect planning, but on present action, however imperfect. So the question is, will you continue waiting for the right time, or will you decide that now is the time? This moment, imperfect as it may be, holds all the potential you need to begin. Your choice today determines your reality tomorrow. Choose action and watch as doors that seemed locked begin to open before you. 2. Quit fearing failure. What if I told you that every successful person you admire has failed more times than you have tried? The fear of failure is a mental prison, and you hold the key. We construct these cells brick by brick with each what if of doubt, each memory of past disappointment, each projection of future humiliation. Yet the door remains unlocked, waiting for the moment you recognize that failure isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. The world does not remember the number of times someone fell, it remembers the one time they rose and stayed standing. History's pages aren't filled with the missteps of great figures, but with their moments of breakthrough and triumph. Abraham Lincoln lost election after election. He failed in business, faced personal tragedy, and suffered depression, but he refused to quit, and eventually he became one of the most revered leaders in history. Why? Because failure didn't frighten him, it fueled him. This transformation of perspective from seeing failure as terminus to viewing it as transit distinguishes those who achieve greatness from those who merely dream of it. When Thomas Edison was asked about his thousands of failed attempts to create the electric light bulb, he famously remarked, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each unsuccessful experiment narrowed the field of possibilities, bringing him closer to the solution that would illuminate the world. When you fear failure, you hesitate. And hesitation is deadly. It paralyzes your progress, poisons your passion, and numbs your natural instinct to create, to explore, to grow. The energy that should propel you forward instead freezes you in place, locked in analysis paralysis or the comfort of planning without execution. Dreams remain dreams, potential remains potential, and the gap between who you are and who you could be widens with each passing day. But failure is not the end. It's data, feedback, redirection. Each misstep provides invaluable information, unavailable through any other means. The entrepreneur learns which business models don't resonate with the market. The artist discovers which techniques don't express their vision. The scientist identifies which hypotheses don't explain the phenomenon. This knowledge, bought with the currency of failure, becomes the foundation for future success. If your dream is worth having, it's worth failing for. The magnitude of your aspiration should outweigh the discomfort of your setbacks. Meaningful achievement requires risk, and risk inherently involves the possibility of failure. By accepting this reality, you free yourself to pursue audacious goals without the paralysis of perfectionism. Embrace the fall, because it's only by falling that we learn how to rise. Children learning to walk fall countless times, yet we never consider these tumbles failures. Instead, we recognize them as necessary steps in mastering a new skill. Carry this wisdom into your adult pursuits. Each setback builds resilience, refines technique, and develops the mental fortitude required for lasting success. So the next time fear whispers, "What if you fail?" smile and answer, "Then I'll learn, adjust, and try again better." This simple shift in response transforms the weight of potential failure from burden to ballast, grounding you in purpose while leaving you free to navigate toward your highest aspirations. In this way, what once imprisoned you becomes the very key to your liberation. Quit negative self-talk. You are always listening to yourself. The question is, what are you saying? Most people lose the battle in their own minds long before they ever step into the arena of life. The words you speak to yourself, even in silence, become the script of your destiny. If you keep telling yourself you're not good enough, eventually you'll stop trying. If you keep focusing on your weaknesses, they will grow stronger, and your strengths will wither away unnoticed. Think of the mind as a garden. Every thought is a seed, positive or negative, it will grow. So, are you planting weeds or flowers? Your thoughts are not passive observers, they're active creators of your reality. When you change your internal conversation, you transform your external circumstances. Self-belief isn't arrogance, it's a responsibility, because if you don't believe in your dream, why should anyone else? One of history's greatest steel magnates wisely observed, "As a man thinks, so he becomes." This wasn't just philosophical musing, it was practical wisdom about mental discipline. Your words shape your perception, and your perception becomes your reality. This isn't mystical thinking, it's psychological truth. The stories we tell ourselves filter how we interpret events, opportunities, and challenges. A setback becomes either a stepping stone or a stopping point, depending entirely on your internal narrative. Begin today with a simple shift. Replace "I can't" with "I will figure it out." Swap "I always fail" with "I'm still learning." These aren't mere affirmations, they're recalibrations of your mental framework. When you speak power into your life instead of poison, everything else follows. Consider how many dreams have died, not because they were impossible, but because someone convinced themselves they were. Your potential isn't limited by your circumstances, but by your thoughts about those circumstances. The difference between the successful and unsuccessful often isn't opportunity, but outlook. This practice requires vigilance. Your negative self-talk has likely been running on autopilot for years. Interrupting this pattern demands awareness and intentionality. Each time you catch yourself spiraling into limitation thinking, pause and redirect. This isn't denying reality, it's choosing which aspects of reality to emphasize. Extraordinary achievers throughout history understood this principle. They faced the same obstacles and doubts as everyone else. The difference was they refused to let their internal dialogue write a story of defeat. Instead, they consciously crafted a narrative of possibility and persistence. Remember that your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what's vividly imagined and what's experienced. When you repeatedly tell yourself something is impossible, your mind creates evidence to support this belief. Conversely, when you consistently affirm your capability, your mind finds ways to make it true. Your life moves in the direction of your most dominant thoughts. Choose them carefully. Guard your mental garden from weeds of doubt and fear. Nurture the seeds of possibility and progress. Because ultimately, the most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you're having with yourself right now. 4. Quit surrounding yourself with toxic influences. Look around you. Who do you spend the most time with? Are they fueling your growth or feeding your doubts? Are they lifting you higher or dragging you down? It's said that iron sharpens iron, but what if your circle is rusting you instead? Many dreams have died, not because of lack of talent, but because of the wrong associations. Henry Ford, early in his journey, was often mocked for his ideas. But he was wise. He surrounded himself with those who believed not just in his vision, but in his ability to make it real. And that belief became fuel. If your conversations are filled with gossip, complaining, and limitations, you are drinking poison daily. But if your circle speaks of ideas, growth, and execution, you're feeding your soul. The quality of your discussions directly shapes the quality of your thinking, which ultimately determines the quality of your life. Consider for a moment how you feel after different social interactions. Some leave you energized, brimming with possibilities and motivation. Others leave you drained, discouraged, or questioning your path. This is not coincidence. It's the natural consequence of environmental influence. Research consistently shows that we become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Their habits become our habits. Their mindset infiltrates our thinking. Their limitations can become our excuses, or their courage can become our inspiration. This isn't about superiority or abandonment. You don't have to hate the people you outgrow, but you must be brave enough to outgrow them. Every relationship serves a purpose in your journey, even if that purpose is eventually complete. The most difficult growth occurs when we recognize that certain relationships, perhaps ones we've cherished for years, are now impediments to our evolution. The familiar comfort they provide becomes a subtle cage, keeping us from the discomfort that precedes advancement. You cannot rise while clinging to what holds you down. Every great achiever has faced this crossroads, the moment when loyalty to their potential had to supersede loyalty to stagnant relationships. This doesn't mean cutting people off coldly. Instead, it means gradually investing more time with those who challenge and inspire you, while compassionately allowing distance from those who don't. It means having difficult conversations about your changing needs and boundaries. Choose your environment like your life depends on it, because it does. The energy around you becomes the energy within you. Your psychological ecosystem determines what thoughts take root, what ambitions flourish, and what beliefs wither. So make the hard decision. Protect your peace, preserve your purpose, and surround yourself with greatness. Seek out those who have already achieved what you aspire to. Find communities where excellence is the standard, not the exception. Remember that pruning, while painful, leads to greater growth. By consciously curating your circle, you're not being selfish, you're ensuring you become capable of giving your greatest gifts to the world. The right circle won't just support your dreams. They'll expand them. They'll question your limitations, challenge your excuses, and reflect back to you a more courageous version of yourself. 5. Quit comparing yourself to others. The fastest way to kill your joy is to compare it to someone else's highlight reel. You are on a path designed for you. No 2 people start at the same point, with the same resources, the same scars, or the same calling. So why sabotage your spirit by measuring your success against another's pace? Theodore Roosevelt once said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." And he was right. When you compare, you take your eyes off your mission. Imagine a horse in a race constantly glancing at the lanes beside him. He slows down, stumbles, and eventually falls behind. Winners focus forward. You must do the same. This digital highlight reel creates a distorted reality where it seems everyone is thriving except you. But remember, behind every success story are countless untold chapters of doubt, rejection, and perseverance. The overnight success was years in the making. The perfect relationship weathered storms you know nothing about. The dream career came after failures that never made it to the feed. Your journey has a timing all its own. Some flowers bloom in spring, others in summer or fall. Would you ask a rose why it hasn't bloomed in January? Of course not. Its nature dictates its season. The same is true for your life's unfolding. Trust the process that is uniquely yours. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Acknowledge how far you've come rather than lamenting where others are. The only person you need to be better than is who you were yesterday. Small improvements compound over time, the daily choice to show up, to try again, to learn and grow. These are the true measures of success. When you find yourself slipping into comparison, gently redirect your focus. Ask yourself, what can I celebrate about my journey today? What strength have I developed that I didn't have before? What small win deserves acknowledgement? Your journey is your own canvas. Don't ruin it by tracing someone else's sketch. Your life is meant to be an original work, not a reproduction. The world needs your authentic expression, not another copy of someone else's path. When you focus inward, you ignite your own excellence. You discover strengths, interests, and possibilities that wouldn't emerge if you were busy mimicking others. Your unique combination of experiences, perspectives, and talents creates value that no one else can offer. So quit looking left and right. Eyes on your path, heart in your purpose, and steps aligned with your vision. That's how you win, not by chasing someone else's race, but by mastering your own. The truest success comes from becoming more fully yourself, not a second-rate version of someone else. Run your race, paint your canvas, write your story, and find joy in the journey that belongs to you alone. 6. Quit overcommitting. Overcommitting is a silent saboteur of productivity and peace. When you say yes to every request or opportunity, you dilute your effectiveness and edge closer to burnout. It's essential to recognize that your time and energy are finite resources. By overloading your schedule, you not only compromise the quality of your work, but also your well-being. We fear missing opportunities, disappointing others, or appearing incapable. Yet this reflexive agreement often leads to a paradoxical outcome. In trying to do everything, we accomplish little of significance and exhaust ourselves in the process. Consider the entrepreneur who, in the eagerness to please clients, accepted more projects than manageable, leading to missed deadlines and tarnished reputation. What began as enthusiasm and ambition gradually morphed into overwhelm, anxiety, and ultimately failure. Had they been selective with commitments, they might have delivered exceptional results on fewer projects rather than mediocre outcomes across many. This pattern repeats across professional and personal domains. The employee who volunteers for every committee, the parent who signs up for all school activities, the friend who never declines an invitation, all risk spreading themselves too thin until quality suffers and joy evaporates. Learning to say no is not a rejection of opportunities, but an affirmation of your priorities. Each commitment represents an investment of your most precious resource, time which, once spent, cannot be recovered. Before agreeing to any new responsibility, pause and reflect. Does this align with my core values and objectives? Will this advance me toward my most important goals? Can I fulfill this commitment without sacrificing quality or well-being? If the answer to any of these questions is no, consider declining respectfully, but firmly. Remember that a clear no today prevents resentment, disappointment, and potential failure tomorrow. Evaluate each commitment against your goals and values. If it doesn't align or stretches you too thin, it's prudent to decline. This doesn't require elaborate explanations or apologies. A simple "I appreciate you thinking of me, but I can't take this on right now" suffices. Most people respect honesty and clear boundaries more than reluctant agreement. Implementing strategic refusal requires self-awareness. Identify your non-negotiables, those activities essential to your health, relationships, and core responsibilities. Protect these fiercely. Next, determine your capacity for additional commitments. Just as you wouldn't overload a boat past its weight limit, don't push yourself beyond sustainable capacity. Remember, by setting boundaries, you safeguard your time for endeavors that truly matter, ensuring you deliver excellence without compromising your health. The most successful individuals aren't those who do the most. They're those who focus intensely on what matters most. Counterintuitively, saying no often opens the door to more meaningful yeses. With preserved energy and attention, you can fully engage with chosen commitments rather than half-heartedly attempting everything. This selective approach leads to deeper satisfaction, greater impact, and the sustainable pace necessary for long-term success. In a world that celebrates busy schedules and constant activity, choosing deliberate engagement over blind commitment becomes a radical act of self-respect. By mastering the art of saying no, you reclaim control of your time, energy, and ultimately your life's direction. Quit dwelling on the past. The past is a place of reference, not residence. Ruminating over previous mistakes or missed opportunities anchors you to moments that no longer serve you. When we dwell in yesterday's shadows, we miss today's light and tomorrow's promise. Consider the inventor who faced numerous failed prototypes. Had he fixated on his failures, he would never have achieved the breakthrough that revolutionized industries. Thomas Edison famously tested thousands of materials before finding the right filament for his electric light bulb. "I have not failed," he remarked. "I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each attempt was information, not defeat, stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. This perspective transformation is critical for anyone pursuing meaningful goals. Failures and setbacks are inevitable companions on the journey toward excellence. What distinguishes the successful from the stagnant is not an absence of mistakes, but a different relationship with them. The past becomes valuable data, not debilitating baggage. Each experience, whether triumphant or challenging, offers lessons to inform your future decisions. Your history contains wisdom if you approach it with curiosity rather than criticism. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How might this prepare me for what lies ahead? These questions extract value from even the most painful circumstances. The mind that constantly revisits old wounds creates a prison of its own making. Psychological research confirms that excessive rumination correlates with increased anxiety and depression. Your mental energy is finite. Every moment spent reliving past regrets is diverted from creating future successes. By releasing the grip on past regrets, you free yourself to seize present opportunities and shape a future aligned with your aspirations. This release isn't about forgetting or dismissing what happened, but about changing your relationship with those events. Acknowledge them, extract their lessons, and then direct your gaze forward. Practical strategies can help cultivate this forward-focused mindset. Begin by practicing present moment awareness, fully engaging with current activities rather than mentally time traveling. When old regrets surface, acknowledge them briefly before gently returning attention to the now. Consider writing about past experiences to process them thoroughly, then symbolically close that chapter. Embrace the mindset that every day is a new canvas and you hold the brush to paint your destiny. This metaphor isn't merely poetic, it reflects the neurological reality that our brains remain remarkably adaptable throughout life. New neural pathways form with repeated thoughts and actions, meaning yesterday's patterns need not dictate tomorrow's possibilities. The freedom that comes from using the past as reference rather than residence manifests in increased creativity, improved decision-making, and greater emotional resilience. Without the weight of yesterday's disappointments, you move more nimbly toward opportunities and respond more adaptively to challenges. Remember that your history helped shape who you are, but it needn't determine who you become. The chapters already written inform your story, but don't conclude it. Each morning brings blank pages awaiting your authorship. Choose, therefore, to honor your past without inhabiting it. Extract its wisdom, acknowledge its influence, and then step boldly into the present moment, the only place where meaningful change and authentic growth can occur. In doing so, you transform your relationship with time itself, making yesterday your teacher rather than your home. 8. Quit neglecting your health. Your body is the vessel that carries you through life's journey. Neglecting its needs is akin to attempting a long voyage with a compromised ship. When we prioritize deadlines over dinner, meetings over movement, and productivity over proper rest, we unwittingly sabotage the very vehicle designed to carry us toward our ambitions. Prioritizing your health is not a luxury but a necessity. In a culture that often glorifies exhaustion and celebrates pushing beyond limits, this truth can seem counterintuitive. Yet the evidence stands firm: sustainable achievement requires sustainable practices. The human system, this intricate network of cells, systems, and signals, functions optimally only when its fundamental needs are met. Regular physical activity, balanced nutrition, and adequate rest are foundational to sustained success. These elements work in concert, each supporting and enhancing the others. Exercise strengthens not just muscles but cognitive function, creativity, and emotional regulation. Nutrition provides the raw materials your body requires for energy, repair, and optimal brain performance. Quality sleep consolidates learning, restores cellular function, and regulates hormones essential for motivation and decision-making. The misconception that self-care detracts from achievement reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of human performance. Peak productivity doesn't emerge from endless hours of work, but from strategic oscillation between focused effort and deliberate renewal. The most effective professionals aren't those who work continuously, but those who work intelligently with their biological rhythms rather than against them. By investing in your well-being, you enhance your resilience, focus, and capacity to tackle challenges. A well-maintained body responds more effectively to stress, recovers more quickly from setbacks, and maintains clearer thinking under pressure. These advantages translate directly to improved performance and greater longevity in any endeavor. Consider implementing simple yet powerful practices. Schedule movement as non-negotiable appointments in your calendar. Prepare nutritious meals that fuel rather than deplete your energy. Establish consistent sleep and wake times that honor your body's need for restoration. Small adjustments consistently applied yield remarkable results over time. Remember, enduring success is built on the bedrock of good health. The achievements that matter most, those that create lasting impact and personal fulfillment, require not just momentary bursts of brilliance, but sustained commitment over years and decades. This long-term perspective reveals health not as an indulgence, but as essential infrastructure supporting your most important work. Your relationship with your body reflects your deeper relationship with yourself and your purpose. Treating your physical needs as secondary signals of fundamental disconnect from the reality that you are your body, not merely a mind inhabiting temporary housing. When you honor your embodied nature, tending to physical signals with the same seriousness you give intellectual pursuits, you align with the integrated system you truly are. Choose, therefore, to navigate life's journey in a vessel deserving serving your greatest aspirations. Maintain it diligently, fuel it appropriately, and allow it the rest essential for optimal function. In doing so, you don't sacrifice success, but establish the very conditions that make meaningful, sustainable achievement possible. 9. Quit resisting change. Change is the only constant in life. Resisting it is akin to standing against the tide, an exercise in futility. When we cling to established conventions out of comfort or fear, we miss the revolutionary possibilities that define this transformative decade. The paradox of human existence lies in our simultaneous yearning for stability and our need for growth. Two forces being dramatically tested in these turbulent times. Embracing change opens doors to new opportunities, growth, and innovation. Cultivate a mindset that views change not as a threat, but as a catalyst for development. This perspective shift doesn't deny the discomfort accompanying the rapid social transformations of our time, civil rights movements, women's liberation, and technological revolution, but reframes them as necessary growing pains, rather than signals of societal collapse. Just as President Kennedy challenged America to reach the moon within the decade, personal growth requires ambitious vision and comfort with the unknown. By remaining adaptable and open to new ideas, you position yourself to navigate these ever-shifting landscapes successfully. Adaptability may well be the defining skill of the space age, more valuable than specific technical knowledge that might become obsolete. The capacity to embrace new paradigms becomes your greatest asset in this world of accelerating transformation, from computerization to jet travel. In shedding habits of resistance, you unburden yourself from self-imposed limitations and step into a realm of boundless potential. When you release the grip on established conventions, your mind becomes free to explore new frontiers of possibility, just as explorers like Jacques Cousteau reveal the ocean's depths and astronauts venture beyond our atmosphere. Your journey toward personal excellence is paved with conscious choices to let go of what hinders and embrace what empowers. This doesn't mean abandoning discernment. Not all change benefits society, as the escalating Cold War reminds us. Rather, it means approaching change with the curiosity that has put the first satellite into orbit and the first man on the moon within a single decade. Take these steps with confidence, knowing that each one brings you closer to the fulfillment and success you envision. The path forward may not resemble the one you initially imagined, but it may lead to destinations far more extraordinary than you could have planned. Like Bob Dylan transitioning from folk to electric guitar despite audience resistance, your adaptability allows you to evolve beyond expectations rather than being limited by them. Remember that throughout nature, it is not the strongest or most intelligent species that survive, but those most responsive to change. This evolutionary wisdom applies equally to your personal and professional development in these revolutionary times. By making peace with impermanence and developing comfort with the uncomfortable, you transform change from something that happens to you into something that happens for you, a faithful ally on your journey toward your highest potential.